Good morning and happy Halloween. This kind of weather is not the norm for October in southern New England, so it's also happy winter, I guess. We had a snowstorm yesterday and got about, looks like these guys, where I'm a little further north of my own neighborhood where we got a dusting. Up here it looks like they got about 2 inches. And now it's all getting warm again because it's a freak snowstorm and it's all going to melt. So we're out here to do some amateur tracking and basically follow this trail because I haven't been on this particular trail in years. I'm going to remind myself where it hikes back to. And that is our mission for today. So we're going to get going. Hopefully not get completely buried in this falling snow, which you can maybe or maybe or not see it fall on the camera, but that's the plan for the day. All right, so this is going to be one of those days where the video ends up being something not as I expected. I just walked through all of this. It's going to be a little bit of like hiking through the after effects of said freak snowstorm. And the irony is it looks like it's freezing out here, but with the sun up, it's somewhere in the transition of 30 to 40 degrees. So this is all going to be down by, I don't know, give it 2 days up here, but most of in my neighborhood where I came up from, it's already melted. And the challenge of the day is going to be navigating stuff like what you see up ahead here and not getting thoroughly soaked by the rain and such, because a lot of this trail is already puddled up and my boots are not, they're older, so they're not exactly totally waterproof, and I already feel like they've leaked once or twice. So on the one hand, you have lovely scenery such as, you know, this and the lake. But and a whole lot of winter wonderland. I'm also looking for tracks as I'm going through, since you do have the snow on the ground. But getting through this and not getting soaked is going to be fun. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm actually going to take a segment break and put the camera into its bag so it doesn't get soaked and ruin my ability to continue filming. Through that, may not look like much, maybe, there you go. But we have more up ahead too, so I'm starting to wonder if walking this thing all the way back is really the thing to do today with all this happening, because I've already had to go around a big massive puddle. And hold on. There you go. Sorry, cameras. The conditions may make the camera's actions interesting too, just because it probably doesn't like getting wet. And today's a challenging day for that, because all the snow is in the process of melting again. But this is the mission we set out to do, so under conditions not expected, we'll do what we can. But it's another one of those videos where I'm kind of winging it because I've already encountered conditions I didn't expect. But sometimes those are the good ones. Again, this is what we're in for today. I can't really see into the woods there's a couple of meadows out here I was hoping to have a look at for various purposes, but I don't know what hope I have of seeing them through all the snow. Everything's basically one big wall of white and bent over trees and falling white, so not complaining. It is cool out here today, but just not ideal for what I had hoped I would accomplish during the week. I didn't foresee the snow being so insane. I'm going to do this. Kind of have to weave between the snow piles and then shrug it off after. A little bit of an obstacle course factor if you don't want to get drenched with snow down your back. So far I've avoided that. But if we hit a solid wall, I'll probably just go to the other trail and do some tracking. So far, I've been able to kind of maneuver through here, but yeah, the trouble is if you tag one of these trees enough, it's all coming down on you. And then you're wet and cold. And that sucks. But weirdly, what I started to say before is it's about 31 degrees or maybe more by now, but with the sun up, it's really not that cold. Even as we are in late October and it's supposedly, we're still not acclimated to winter temperatures yet. But not so bad so far, as long as you can avoid wearing all the snow. And I like to just pan around for the scenery. Actually, kind of the tree line. And that's what's ahead. That's what's over here. This is why I'm kind of not thinking that finding the meadows is in the cards today. Mainly just because you can't see through this. I mean, you can try to bushwhack, but you're going to get soaking wet and get cold really quick if you do. I'm trying to, mitigate that. Well, it looks like we're about to head downhill a little bit. So I don't really know how far back this goes. On Google Maps, it doesn't really give a concrete answer to that. So the interesting squatchy aspects of this are that if there's a part of this stretch of the forest in local vigilance where they hide, this is a good spot because this is really not that often traveled by many. And it's a good hiding spot because the one time that I think I had the drone in the air and elicited some wood knocks for that from a couple of different spots, 2 of them came from this general direction, which is where some of that theory comes from. But let me maneuver through this little trap and keep going. But local vigilance for the most part has been quiet over the years so far, but we're only now getting into the part where you start to perk up and listen a little more. And today it is kind of deadpan quiet, so it'd be a good day for them to knock and be heard, if that's what they want, but it's probably not. But we're going to go around most of that if we can. What's the easiest path, though? I think we cross over here. It is. Nope, that's a swell. Maybe I can maneuver through this. Little yellow snow, something to declare territory in here. Doesn't look big though, so I don't know. Usually that's sign of something to the effect of a bobcat or something. But yeah, this falling snow is going to just get worse. So I'm trying to, I guess we're still going this way, keep from walking through that long puddle and get my feet soaked. So we're bushwhacking briefly as long as we can. Got another small swamp here to circumnavigate, but I think the other side over here is better for that. That went right down my back, damn it. That sucked. I'm glad it's not in the 20s. That would really suck. Like that cold snow down your back. Then you're just cold all over for the rest of the day. So, in the Bigfooting community, since I'm talking and walking and exploring, I don't always throw gossip into my content, but there are assertions that were made. And I don't know the people involved, so I throw no opinion behind this. This is just what's been said. There have been allegations made against the proprietor of a major Bigfoot conference. Basically that he is using other people's content, in effect plagiarism. I guess that would be the term. Not sure if that applies to video, if I'm being honest, but I don't have a better term, so that's the one we're going to use as I look for tracks. And, well, apparently the person whose content it was is making a stink, and they're claiming that the owners of the Salt Fork location where the conference has historically been held are put off by this, along with several of the usual speakers. One of the major flaws of conferences in and of themselves that you don't seem to ever really get a lot of new content. I've always considered them more of a social t-shirt selling enterprise than anything else, but that's my opinion. But apparently they are not happy with this, and brief detour, and unless they can find another promoter, I guess is the right word here, to back the venue, that could be it for one of the longest running Bigfoot conferences on the East Coast. So, speaking for my own opinion, I have never really been part of the conference scene, so I'm fairly ambivalent to the whole thing. But, bear with me. This kind of scenery does beg for photography, because you don't get this every day. Bear with me. Got a lot of shots in here that are like basically just you walking through a snow tunnel. So, let's back up and not let that will lend some fodder into the admittedly neglected GNR portfolio site that I run, where I showcase some of my photography and related graphic art. Feel free to check out if you are interested in that. Some of you already have, from the look of it. I still get new views there, and well, everybody else plugs their stuff. I'm sorry, I'm kind of taking pictures as I go too. Yeah, you don't need to see me do it. Hold on, Jerry. Anyway, sorry about that lag. Let's continue. Yeah, as far as my own opinion on the whole conference fallout of this, my own opinion is basically one of ambivalence, because I've never really been part of conferences anyway, for a number of different reasons, but just never really been my thing. That's more of a social thing. I'm more into the research end of things, from my opinion anyway. And so, on the one hand, it's kind of a shame that such a long-standing institution of the subject would possibly bite the dust due to somebody's improprieties, if the allegations are true. In fairness, I don't know the players involved. I don't know the context totally. It's like you have one side of the story, the other side isn't saying much though, and if they wanted to clear their name, that would help. But they first of all, this does go back further than I expected it to, and secondly, I can already tell you that I'm going to end up with a second and third time to explore this thing, because just the nature of the lack of visibility into the depth of the forest. I mean, it's stunning scenery, don't get me wrong, but not being able to see into this. We're not going to use this up today. In fact, I would wager that if I come back in a week and we have no snow, this is going to look 100% different. But, excuse me, just heard a hawk or something. Yeah, it would be a shame on one hand if it did go by the wayside because one person's alleged, you have to remember to use alleged, improprieties, but that part of it is yet to play out. But the allegations have been made, and if this guy is telling the truth and is accurate in his assertions, there are consequences for what the guy did. You notice I'm not naming names because, again, I don't know these people, and I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon of cancel culture if I don't know the underlying truth of what's actually the story. So that seems only fair. And others have in the past not shown me that level of understanding. So if you want to apply the principle of leading by example, you can do that, but you can't see shit in here. So we are going to definitely stick to the trail today, because this is not a familiar stretch of woods this far in. The other thing that's going on locally, and this is not a Bigfoot related thing, there's I'm not even going to be nice about this, a chucklehead in the surrounding town of this overall area who has started a business by way, how am I getting around this? By way of feeding bears illegally, and is currently still operating in spite of having received 2 cease and desist orders from the local town. And needless to say, he's not popular with the DEP, which is the equivalent of some towns or some states' DNR, in addition to the local town folk themselves, because they know that a fed bear is a dead bear. And just today, the asshole sent out a statement accusing the state agency of bear cruelty or abusing bears when he is himself placing them in danger by the nature of his business, which I think and hope there is an active effort within the town to shut him down, which is a good thing because he's not doing anyone any favors. Habituating bears to humans makes for dangerous bears and puts bears in danger. So if you see, what the hell's he call that thing? I have to go back and look. I'll post a link when I remember the name of the business. But if you ever see a link to something asking to boycott it, they are in the right. I have to go back and look. Actually, I have my phone here. Let's see if I have a signal. I'll look it up. Damn it. Of course, now I can't find it. Nature Havens, that's what it is. This is the guy, it's basically a guy illegally feeding bears and putting everybody at risk, including the bears themselves. If you should come across any effort to boycott that business, it is a valid and righteous thing to do. So I'll throw that out into the video too, since I'm just walking through this snow tunnel thing right now. As much as I like to go exploring off the trail more. Is that one of the meadows? Pardon me while I just fly in the face of what I just said I wasn't going to do. Secondly, can you get anywhere near it given the conditions? All right, little bushwhack for the trouble. There's a couple of large meadows in here, and I did want to but I can't see through these trees far enough to really tell if it breaks up or not. It looks like it does, but I don't want to waste the trip all the way over there and then get stuck, because all I'm seeing on there is more trees. I'm going to leave that for another day. But the sun is coming out. It is getting warmer, which is accelerating the melt. Hopefully that doesn't fry my camera. That would suck. But the major trap in here and getting soaked in so completely is these big pine trees. As you can see right here, they have a whole lot of snow up in the boughs. And as it gets warmer and it gets meltier, that's going to be coming down. Hopefully not down the back of my neck, because that's always very cold and wet. Cold is bad, wet is bad. Cold and wet together are collectively worse, as any experienced camper who has favored the colder months will know. All right. So at this point, we've covered gossip, and I am going to take a short segment break so I can cover a little ground and pay more attention to getting to how far this thing goes. And it's already exceeding the length I would have thought, but we'll come back a little bit later. Okay, so if the camera will play nice. We're on a side trail, and we found, hold on, damn it, some poorly defined tracks, but they have a decent stride, so I'm trying to figure out their definition sucks, but this is a trail system, so not really sure what I'm following, but I'm also not going to go in too deep, because it's been about, I don't know, 20 minutes or more since I've checked in with you guys, and I am way in here. I'm on the Mass side now, and a decent ways in. So, and they kind of go in here. But your stride is 2/3 of mine. Or 1 1/3 of mine. So again, not huge, not huge in size of that, but it's a decent stride. So this could be a moose. Although I would think that with wet, crappy snow like this, that a moose hoof would be a lot more defined. So other things it could be are, given the size of the stride. Again, if it was something squatchy, you would probably have a better definition, because my feet are leaving perfectly defined tracks. And this is like kind of a weird shape, so it could be a rabbit kind of hopping through or something like that too. So I don't want that. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't know if that's my bad handling of the camera or the camera getting wet and cranky, but I'm not sure what these are. But so far on the Mass side, I found 3 different side trails, so I've ventured into a whole different trail system here. So there's probably more to explore. And I thought I just saw another trail indicator. Let's take a quick look over here, because I was going to kind of turn back for now, because I am in here quite a ways. And there are a lot of side trails. I've had like 3 so far, so this is like some kind of trail system in here. And it looks like this actually forks. So before I start, does it? Maybe not. Is that a fork? I think it is, actually. So I'm going to stop at the fork, because shit, I don't know the signage. There's like signage in here for a trail system. I'm not sure where I am, but it branches into both ways, and I don't know the favorite position without looking on a map more. And in fact, there's a three-way fork in here, so I'm not really sure where I am. I'm going to turn back at this point rather than risk getting lost. Tracks were interesting though. But right now I would think some kind of bounding animal. I'm going to take a quick... This kind of looks like it might be a logging zone too, because I mean the tracks in here are these... I gotta go down. Are these big industrial looking things. So something in the way of a big track vehicle came through here. That would indicate logging activity, which my camera is being a snot. Bear with me 1 second while I take a quick break. Thank you. Okay, so the camera's getting grumpy. I had to restart it to get it to go again, but let's just take a quick look in all three directions and kind of assess. That might just kind of assess things here. Also, you got a big mud patch here, so you got a good chance for some kind of tracks. No, that goes over that way too, so that seems to go a ways over that way. This goes away that way. Yeah, I'm gonna call it at the junction because I want to know where these things go before I commit to one. But so my thoughts on this, when my first intention for the day was just to walk this back, and I thought it would eventually dead end or come out on an existing greater trail system, but it came out on a whole different trail system in Massachusetts, and I've easily covered a mile and change in here, and it's, you just have these weird indicator signs of three-way turns and such, and I don't really know where this leads, so I'm going to kind of take the opportunity to head back for now, and later today I'm going to get on Google Maps and maybe some Southern Massachusetts trail system site, try to ascertain where that goes, since my car is a ways back this way and I have a little bit of navigation to get back. So we are again going to take a segment break to cover some ground. We will, of course. So you got a trail here, and you got two down here, a three-way junction down there, and then there's two side trails coming back this way. So there's a whole system in here that, if it weren't so snowy and obscured, I would be a lot more open to exploring, and I will at a later date when it's a little more forgiving. But today right now I'm going to take another break so I can navigate this and another big swampy puddle coming up, and we'll pop back on if something interesting happens on the way back.